Hey guys, my name is Wiltings, and welcome to my absolute beginner's guide to Eidolons. This tutorial covers a lot and is aimed at absolute beginners who are brand new to the content or Warframe in general and have just completed the star chart. Because this is aimed at super new players, I will not be discussing about advanced tactics on a hunt, such as quick charging, advanced lure management, or transference shots. If you like the video, please hit the like and subscribe button, as that will actually really help me out. Anyways, because there's a lot to this, we're going to be breaking this up into 4 parts. Part 1 is going to be getting the gear and mods that you require and where to farm them. Part 2 is understanding your amp terminology, your amp itself, the focus school, and the Volt's shield. Part 3 is Eidolon mechanics in your very first hunt. And part 4 is upgrading into Tridolons. Feel free to use the timestamps in the description to find out what you're looking for. If you're looking for something specific, there's a lot there. But before we get into it, please note that Eidolons do have a mandatory requirement that you complete the War Within quest. This is at the very end of the star chart that is obtained from the Pluto to Sedna Junction. Without completing this quest, you will not be able to kill them. Trust me, I've tried. Another requirement that is highly recommended is actually completing the Sacrifice quest. This is the second quest after War Within, just because it will give you something called, spoiler alert, Umbral mods. Thank you, Wally. Now with Umbral mods, they do have a set effect that whenever they are together, they actually enhance one another. But also, in addition, they also have something called Tau resistance. Tau resistance is actually a damage reduction that you have against sentients. So, anytime a sentient hits you with something, that damage gets reduced by 30%. This is amazing, and it will do a lot to actually be able to keep you alive. But yeah, without further ado, let's delve ourselves into part 1, getting the gear and everything that comes with it. Very first thing we're going to be doing, if you do not have one, I'll be showing you how to get Volt, the Amesha, the VELOCITUS, which is the arc gun, and the Void Rig. The reason why we're using this is the Void Rig allows you to use the arc gun on open worlds. The VELOCITUS is going to one-shot the Eidolon limbs. The Amesha, Archwing, can not only heal you with Benevolent Decoy, but also keep you safe with Warding Grace. And with Volt, his electric shield ability increases your damage by a lot. The only other thing that we're also going to be using is a Broken Scepter. None of this really matters outside of Shattering Impact, and maybe throw on a Fury and Range mod just for comfort. Anyways, let's head on over to Cetus. Now, the reason why we're heading over to Cetus first is we're going to be grabbing its mining drill, which may not sound like the smartest thing, because we have the Fortuna mining drill, which is the best one in the game and is super easy to get. The reason why we're choosing this one specifically is so that we eliminate any possibilities of us getting rare ores or rare gems. Just because whenever we're actually trying to get the Void Rig, we do not want it to take 8 hours because we keep getting rare gems, and we just want to get it over with because it's a lot of mining. So, very first thing, we're going to browse wares. We're going to, after a few bounties, you're going to buy the Nosum Cutter. You're going to buy the Tier Azurite Blueprint. You're going to buy the Pyretic Alloy and the Estra Devar. Now note, these 3 are specifically for an amp that you'll be crafting much later down the line. And now that you have that, you can actually go to Fisher High Look. And that, you're just going to buy their spears. It doesn't really matter, just buy the spears. You can always swap them out as you are, well, fishing. The reason why is that it doesn't really matter if it's Deimos fish, Fortuna fish, or Earth fish. You can use pretty much any fishing spear that you want. Alright, now that we have that, we're going to make our way all the way over to Deimos. Click on any of them that are available. Now, on Deimos, Otak and Father are going to be the two characters that we talk to. Otak going to be essentially, he's going to sell the mining wares, and you're going to buy everything on the top row. Absolutely everything. Once you have that, and make sure you are rank 1 with the Iradite family, you'll be able to purchase from Father on the Browse Wares all the damaged necromech pieces. The reason why we're buying all the damaged necromech pieces is so that we can actually craft it. And then once you have that, the last thing you'll have to do is go back to the ship, and we're going to head on over to our dojo. Now, if you have never heard of a dojo, or wondering what a dojo is, a dojo essentially is a clan hall. Now, this is my dojo that we have the little gremlin den. But if you type in recruiting chat, which is the little chat over here with recruiting, and you type in, hey, I'm looking for a dojo, or type in Q&A saying, hey, I'm looking for a clan to join, make sure that you ask them if they're rank 10, which means that they have everything unlocked. This would be really important because now, whenever we go and head on over to our dojo, and you'll have to create a clan key, which will take, I believe, 12 hours. It's a lot shorter than what it used to be. So, whenever we go in there, I'll show you exactly where you need to go. To Research Labs, and we want to go over to the Tenno lab. Now, here, we're going to buy a lot of things. We're going to buy all of the Ameshas. We're going to buy all of the Volt if you did not start with him. You're going to buy the VELOCITUS. And please note, we don't have the other pieces. I'll talk about that later. We're going to replicate that. And you're also going to buy the Archwing launcher segment. This is because we want to be able to use our Archwing on the plains of Edilon whenever we are fighting the Eidolon, so we can actually use the Amesha's abilities. So, after you obtain all those, we can return to the ship. Now that we have returned over to the ship, we're going to go over to the Syndicates. And this is where we're going to find the rest of the VELOCITUS. So, all these pieces are from rank 2. So, on Cephalon Suda, we can actually buy the VELOCITUS barrel. In Steel Meridian, we can buy the VELOCITUS receiver. And, as you see, there's a Corvus stock here. And in Red Veil, there's the VELOCITUS stock. Now, do not fret if you chose Red Veil, New Loca, and Apparent Sequence. It's perfectly fine. Because I'm going to show you how to trade right now. And it is a much better version of trading than Trade Chat. If you have never used this, please exclusively use this and do not get ripped off via Trade Chat. So, what you're going to do, you're going to come over to the top right. It will ask you to do a sign in. You do a register. You'll go to settings. It'll ask you, hey, you need to register. Here's a verification code. And you just follow on how to verify your account. Once that is verified, you can go to your profile. I don't think I'm selling a few things. But what we're going to do is at the bottom of this, do not know why it's so far off screen. The bottom right of this, you'll see something called place order. What we're going to do is that we're going to click place order. Select the item. We're going to type in Corvus stock that we want to sell. Parts per unit, we'll do 100 as a joke. Quantity, 1. Or past that. So if we look at it, with the core of stock is actually going for, it's just 9 plat. If we go for VELOCITUS, which we need, they're pretty much mirrored 9 to 10 plat. Eventually you'll have a buyer, you'll trade with them, get the plat, you give them everything, you go buy this, and then you'll be able to build your VELOCITUS. Now, whenever you finish purchasing something or selling something, doesn't matter if you have a buy offer or whatever, you want to click sold or delete. If you click sold, however, you can actually pull up history on your transactions and on what you've sold. So far, I sold a core stock for 10 plat, as you guys can see. This is where I bought my VELOCITUS stock. And then I sold a hollow bullets and a Wisp Prime blueprint. Use these to essentially buy a critical focus, which we will be talking about later. Now that you have a somewhat decent idea of trading, we'll hop right back into the video. Iradite and mining out Pyrol and Phobos. So make sure you have your Nosum card on. You attach this by going to your arsenal. At the top, clicking the little gear icon, adding it to your gear wheel, just as you did with the synthesis scanners and the synthesis and the siphon trap. And the best way to think about this is Iradite's going to be here. However, the further we actually go away from the entrance, the more Iradite we can actually farm. So this spot right here will have 3. On higher level bounties, that will have 5. So if you're farming out 100 of these, it's a pain, but you can grab these 3 and pretty much run back and forth, run back and forth, run back and forth, run back and forth 10 times to obtain it. Likewise, there's also Grokdul up here. Now, over here, there is 1 drum right here, full of 3, and this will get a little dangerous. You want to fly over to the left-hand side. There's going to be a little drum in the middle. And of course, there's a few hidden under the tents. They just really don't want me up here. Pop the Amesha ability to be able to be free. Yeah, there's another drum. There it is. And with those, we can easily just head back and just repeat this 10 times. With me going slow, it takes about 2 minutes per run. So about 20 minutes, 30 minutes of your time if you're just taking it easy. Now what we're also going to do is we're going to mine Pyrol and Phobos. The best way to do this, in my opinion, is when you come out of the gate, you're going to make a left. And you're going to head over to this big sea. And you're going to look at these little kind of fingers coming out of the ground. There's a little itty bitty cave right there. We're going to head into the cave. And we're going to pull out our cutter. Now, you hear that little beeping noise. If you're not familiar with mining, that beeping noise is like a little radar ping. And it shows you and helps you listen on where something is. As well as on the right hand side of the corner, you'll see something that says 3 meters or 3M. If I turn away and I start walking, it turns to 6. 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you're hard of hearing, this is a much easier way to figure out, oh, there's an ore vein near me. And what we're doing is that we're not going to charge this all the way up and slowly mine like that. Instead, what we're actually going to do is we're just going to call it swipe mining. Where we're just going to look at it, hold it for a second, and then move it away. The reason why we do this is because the only benefit that holding it down for a much longer time gives you is that it will give you double the drops. So 4 goes to 8 and so on. But if you just do that, or just half complete it, you get pretty much a little bit more than half the ore. And this will allow you to complete getting the Pharaohs and Pyrol faster. As you see, we've only been really doing this for about a minute, and we have 13 Pyrol and we need 60. Same thing with Pharaohs. So, the faster we are at this, we can actually obtain a lot more in a shorter amount of time, especially since Copper Run is here. We do not want that one material. So, by doing this, it actually eliminates a lot of the sort of guesswork on, are we going to be wasting a lot of time getting copper, or we're actually going to get everything at once. Now, feel free to actually grab some of the blue gems, well, the blue spots for gems. The reason why is that you will need them later on, and they also have some Grokdul gems down here as well as some Iradite, but just grab wherever you can. Alright. And with just a little bit of time, we're already, well, we're a third of the way down with Pyrol, we're already 6th of the way down with Pharaohs, in only just a few minutes. You will need 60 of both of these to be able to craft the Deimos ore that we actually need for the Void Rig. So I'm going to quickly speed on out of here. And I will see you guys on the next part in Fortuna. Ride. And just like the Pyrol and Pharaohs on Cetus, we also need 60 of this. This is used in conjunction with other Deimos ores to create the alloys that we actually need to create the Void Rig. So, some things that we can actually do is that we actually have to first go to the different cave systems that are all around it. Now, there's a quick cave system. If you come up to the right, follow along this path with this lake goo yard here. And there's the entrance. We're going to pull out our cutter. And we're going to just slowly saunter in, and we're going to check the ceilings. Because sometimes they can have like these little arachnoid crabs, as I like to call them. And I know that doesn't make any sense. But they can also drop some stuff that's really useful for later on in the account. So we're going to run through here, check it. Okay, it's not worth doing, so we're going to go all the way down here to the transit depot. And please note, sometimes finding these is a little tricky, but a lot of the times they are actually alongside the road. This one is right here. And then, of course, just like Earth, we're just going to swipe mine. Reason why is that we're looking for an abundance of one material, but there's a lot of different materials that can be gained, and we technically do not want that. Now, I'm going to head over to Pardini Crater, because this is actually where Site 12 is. Site 12, if you don't know, is where the Exploiter Orb is. Let me come around here. Where is the entrance? There it is. And it has some... Oh, couldn't get that. Unfortunate. There we go. Get some goodies out of it. There it is, travel ride. Any extra in here? We have to probably bullet jump. Cool. But yeah, as you can see, just from swipe mining, there are a lot of different ores that you're able to get from Fortuna, which is why we're doing this method. So it's all the way over there. But also, side note, if you want to start the Exploder Orb, it starts in this room, and you'll insert Thermia over here, and this will start the boss battle. We're over here just looking for any goodies, and all used to, but you can actually use your Archwing around here. I believe you can just use it to fly on out as well. Yep, there's another. Getting a lot of Venerable. Yeah, so we're already at 6 of the way done with Travel Ride, only in 5 minutes. So we're gonna hold M, and we're gonna teleport back to Fortuna. And once you have all those materials, and for Grokdul and Iradite, I forgot to mention, you will need 100 of them for the arc, not only for launcher segment, but also for the Archwing launcher, Oxium. Oxium, you need 1200 of it to be able to help meld into the alloys. And we're gonna go to Udico. We're gonna get bounties. And currently it is not on the rotation, but this rotates every single 2 hours. It'll swap between Plastids and Oxium. Now, what you will do, instead of just trying to grind out the entire bounty, you can either set it to yourself or to public, and you go in, complete the very first task of the bounty, and then you come right back to Fortuna. The reason why is that Oxium, whenever it is on rotation, will be up to 200 Oxium, and it saves you a lot of time and a lot of headache, because it's a 25% chance for it to drop on the very first rotation. Now, that takes roughly anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes to do, depending on what tasks you're given. If you are given Protect the Drone, just leave directly back to Fortuna. The reason why, even if I'm even whenever I'm on my main account, unless I banish that drone from existence, or I'm using Mesa and I am absolutely nuking everything, that thing will take damage. It is really annoying and really obnoxious that you can't really protect it that well. That's because the guys will literally just start sniping from halfway across the map and it will die. But yeah, once you do that, you can easily gain your 1200 Oxium. And then we move on to Plastids. Plastids are a much easier resource to be able to obtain, as well as it's going to be on the exact same planet. Well, no, it's not going to be on the exact same planet, but you can also farm. Yeah, it will be on the exact same planet where Kalis is. And Kalis will be where we will farm the mods for not only the Archwing, but also the Arc Gun. And with the interception, we only do the very first rotation. Takes 5 minutes. Has a chance to give you automatic trigger, dual rounds, and everything like that. Sir, whenever you do it, it will give you polymer bundles, and will also give you plastids and a bunch. Please do these on public, because whenever it comes to Kalis, if you do it on solo, it will barely give you any enemies. The second that another player joins, it will like quadruple the amount of enemies that there are, so it gives you a higher chance of obtaining all the different Arc Gun and Archwing mods. Yeah, that is a lot of info. And that is how and where you gain absolutely everything. So now we're going to be moving on to Amps. I'm going to leave her for better. And we're going to make sure that we actually have all the equipment equipped, essentially. What we actually need is not only our Nosm cutter, but this time we also need our fishing spear. This is because of some little fishies we're going to be hunting. So, whenever we are out of here, I'm going to speed boost. I'm going to hop on our Archwing. And what we'll do is that there is a little itty bitty cave over here that I really enjoy being in. Where is it? I went too far. Is it this one? Yeah, this one right here. So this cave has a lot of little easy pickings. And we're just gonna try to run through here. Feel free to hit everything with your melee. However, there's also water. And we're actually going to be sitting in here to actually be able to fish for the fishes that we want. So as we equip the fishing spear, you'll see on the bottom right, we have some phos residue and some foam residue. Doesn't matter which one you use. We specifically want the fishes. They are called, how do you say it? Coronator cord and Vitrospina. We actually had one that was actually just right here. But we're essentially using these phos and foam to actually be able to lure these out. So we're just sitting here, just chilling. Also be fishing. And you're just going to just pretty much sit back and you're going to wait. Now, that being said, this boy is a speedy Gonzalez. Now that being said, you're going to be using this cave to mine out as many things as possible. However, you're also going to be, whenever all of this area is completely done being mined out, I'm just going to speed boost because it is a very large area. The next area, aside from this mountain, is that you can come over to this mountain right here. There's a big entryway right there. There's also a big entryway right here. And you'll just start mining here as well. This place also has a lot of areas that you can just go in, just swipe mine, and just keep moving. Now, once those two are kind of emptied out, you want to come over here to this weird infested hole. And this actually has a lot of areas that you can quickly mine. Call correctly. Yep. Estafron, which is the most annoying one to get. Now, mining everything out this way will take a few hours, like maybe 2 to 3 hours. But once you manage to get everything and you get the spinal call and you actually get enough chronocords and vitrospinas, which are required because they actually give you a spinal core section. You can also get spinal core sections from doing isolation vaults, which is actually the best way to actually get the lucent motes. the, what is it called? What does it look like? You could find them in these little enshrining caskets. Yeah, there's a Lucent Terror Groves. You can also find these shrines and just smash everything. You need about 360 of them. So, when you fly around, very first when you come out the door, you can look at this one, smash it. One right here. There's another one up here. You can smash. And then I'll go around and I'll smash this one. If there's any of those little casts there. Other than that, just go and do an isolation vaults. But you, of course, you must be master rank 5 to be able to access that content, unfortunately. But if you're having trouble ranking up master rank, by the time you're actually starting to build everything in this, it will not be a problem. As I showed on different planets where to farm plastids and Archwing parts, what Archwing parts are we actually looking, well, Archwing mods are we looking at, and what are we looking for on the Scepter? First off, the Scepter, it's very easy. You just need a Shattering Impact. Fury is just nice quality of life. So is Reach. Just allows you to hit, actually, multiple parts if you're just landing directly on the legs and you're just whacking away. You only need this just to armor strip. That's it. However, what I'm actually running is this. Now, the reason why I'm running it is because this still shreds enemies on the planes because of the unique trait. The unique trait is interact with fallen enemies to extract a health orb if they're organic, or energy orb if they're robotic. Now, that mod synergizes very heavily with Equilibrium. This is the mod that helps me stay alive the most, as well as keep my energy up when I'm fighting the Edilon. Because whenever the Edilon has a limb broken, it'll drop 2 energy orbs, and it drops 2 health orbs. So this will allow you to keep your health up and your energy up throughout the fight. Now, when it comes to the Amesha, this doesn't matter. Just slap health on it. That's really nice. If you do get a system reroute, just put it at half rank. It's very nice. But realistically, you can just slap health, shield capacity, and you're done. When it comes to Void Rig, you really don't have to put anything on it. I just have a little bit of shield and some engine stuff on it because I thought it looks cool. However, when it comes to the VELOCITUS, we're going to be looking at stuff really specific. You'll have obtained a Rubital Lime Barrel from the Archwing quest. While you are doing the interception mission, you're going to be looking out for Parallax Scope, Hollowed Bullets, Polar Magazine, Electrified Barrel, Combustion Rounds, and if you really want, Shell Rush. This is more of a quality of life than anything else. However, the one thing you will not be able to obtain just from playing in those missions is Critical Focus. This is because Critical Focus is locked behind a boss called Profit Taker on Fortuna. Because we do not have access to that, and we're not going to try to push it really hard to get rank 5 in Fortuna, what we're going to do is that we're going to just literally buy it from another player from the plat that we have earned from either selling VELOCITUS parts or Corvus parts on Warframe Market. And once we buy that, this is actually a really easy build. Right now, this is a 2-forma build. If I want it to be a 1-forma build, I just remove Shell Rush. If I want it to be 0-forma, I actually put this at a 2 out of 5. But please note, you must put a Orkin reactor into this, which is the blue potato. A blue potato is required for the VELOCITUS. And for your Volt, I highly recommend having a gold potato installed. This will allow you to pretty much stay alive a whole lot easier. But if you don't have access to that, you can literally cut out all of this from the bottom. Just keep Equilibrium and Umbral Intensify, Umbral Vitality, and Umbral Fiber. Of course, you will need Dreamer's Bond and anything else. Anything else, I would just recommend just putting on Flow, because that's going to allow you to essentially overcap your energy and keep it up throughout the entire fight. Alrighty. Now that we're done with mods, we're actually going to start moving on to farming on the Eidolon. Well, farming in the plains of Eidolon. Back on Earth. Because we actually need to hunt Vombalus. Now, Vombalus are going to be needed to be able to get intact sentient cores that are actually going to be used to hunt Eidolons. Well, we needed to get the amp to hunt Eidolons. Now we're going to mark the terror list. They have, well, when our Eidolons spawn, they always spawn from a body of water, and they have like this ethereal blue flame. If you actually get to it fast enough and you pop up a few shots, yeah, you're not going to do any damage to it. But what is going to happen, however, is you're going to force it to spawn a Vombalus. And we also have some Vombalus already kind of spawning over there. And all we're going to do is that we're just going to follow this guy left, right, and center the entire time. So we're following around him. And all we're going to do is that we're going to kill our Vombalus. And we're going to grab Sentient Cores. And what we're going to do is that we want to do this until we have roughly about 30 to 35. The reason why is that is a safe number, not only for you to get standing from neutral from Quilonco all the way up to 1, but also allows you to trade the 10 sentient cores to be able to rank up to level 1 and be able to purchase what is the 111 amp pieces. Now we'll just head over to Quilonco and I will show you. We have to hop in an operator. We'll talk to him. You trade sentient cores for Will standing. That's at max. I'm gonna browse some wares, and you're gonna buy. Well, whenever you rank up, you're gonna buy the Raplac, and then you're gonna purchase the Pentascaffold and a Clapgrub brace. Now, if you have been doing any, I would say, if you were doing any of the Earth bounties since you were first introduced to them, you should be able to be rank 2. Now, the reason why is that it's for Merc-Ray Liverbait. However, I got lucky, and I joined a public lobby, and I was seeing if anybody was fishing for Merc-Rays. And lo and behold, the public lobby I joined on Earth was actually doing that. But if you're not ranked 2 yet, which I'm just 2000, you can just buy Merc-Ray bait, go ahead in the hotspots, and that will actually be the very last thing you actually need to build the to be able to build all 3 pieces of the amp. Now, that only takes about an hour for that to be built. Whenever you have that, you'll come back over here, you'll assemble it, you'll put the Raplac, scaffold, and the, where is it, Clapgrub brace, and this will be your amp. This is the very same amp that I currently use until I will eventually get the 123 amp, which is part of the Raplac Prism, Destruction Scaffold, and a Lorhan brace. This will essentially be your best amp for a very long time until you complete Little Duck. Anyways, that's all you really need for Quilonco. And now, actually, on to the amp part and fishing. Well, fishing is pretty easy. When you have it in your gear wheel and you go to a body of water, you'll be able to see the fish and you can fish. Small fish gives you 1 fish oil, medium fish gives you 2 fish oils, and the large fish gives you 3 fish oils. Now, on top of that, we're also going to be looking for something called Cetus Wisps for the Eidolons. Now, it is rare that they spawn during the day, but they can because they can like during dusk whenever it starts getting like a little sunset-y. And here is the path that is shown on the wiki, but I'll show you my personal path in which I take. Now, what I normally do is I like to come over here, and I just like to check this spot around here, right here, right here. This is nearly where all the Vomblists will be. And then they can either be right here or here. And they'll hide all along this coast. However, there is one spot, I believe it is, yeah. One spot right here where they can spawn. They'll spawn right there. There is another spawn point, I believe, right over here. And there's a random one like right here. That is during, like, that you can find. And then you want to kind of move up this channel, either on a cage drive or something, and you want to keep looking on where the rock is soaked. There's a spawn right there. As you kind of get up, there's another spawn right there. And I believe there's some, it's rare, but there's one right there. And then as you kind of move up around this waterfall, we'll just kind of make our way around this small little pond. Then we'll go all the way up here. And there could be a wisp either right here or standing on here. And then we can just move all the way over to this water spot right here. Just kind of look over here. There's one spawn right here. One spawn, I believe, right there. There's a spawn here. And I've seen a spawn here. And then, of course, for this one, I don't believe there is a spawn on this one. The map will correct me if I'm wrong. But if you don't find that, and you also don't find it here, here, or the last one, which is all the way over here, right next to the exit, then you just go and reset. You'll do that at night. Now, an alternative to... Now... there's no alternative for finding wisps. However, for fishing, there is an alternative. And that's what we're doing right now. This is called Thumpers. I'm going to be posting a guide alongside of this one to actually show you on how to actually kill them with your Void Rig. But if you put it on whatever, you pretty much want to put it on the lowest level, and you want to kind of fly around. And this only happens during the day because Thumpers are the boss during the daytime. And I'm gonna pause it and give me a second. I'll pause it and play, and we will resume whenever there's a Thumper on screen. Alrighty. So now that we actually have a Thumper, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna land. With you guys, I'll have to be using this stupid stick, and you just wanna whack until all of its armor's off. If you have your Void Rig, which is important to have, you can go ahead and just kind of just shoot the little plates on its legs. If you kind of aim towards the back of them, you can actually hit more, and then it will fall over. That's kind of the best way to do it, and they actually give you a very large amount of different types of resources. I do have a resource booster on, so all this is doubled, so please take that in mind. However, you can do that for everything, just to kind of like skip the tiers, so to speak, for like crafting different weapons on Cetus. But yeah, so actually I need to show this to kind of show on how how you actually get a Thumper to spawn. Is that they are random, is a 20% chance for them to spawn on the map whenever you load in. It is always best to use a bounty to upscale them. So as you see, I have an armor bounty. This is a much higher level one. However, I would fly down here. I always fly down here first. I tag this tree, and then I come over. I need energy. There you. Then what I'll do is that I'll fly along this ridge. Come over to where we had essentially that little wisp spawn. Fly up over here. Down. All the way over here to this other side. Down through the middle. And then we just do some quick back and forth, until we eventually have essentially flown across the entire map, because you have to be in a certain proximity for it to spawn, and you'll hear some thudding steps as it pulls itself out of the ground. But yeah, that is how you get thumpers, excess materials, etc., etc., if you don't have the level for them. And what you can do with your Void Rig afterwards. But there'll be a more in-depth guide coming soon about Thumpers and how to farm them properly. To be looking at the Matter-Eye Focus School. Now, whenever it comes to the Matter-Eye Focus School, there is a lot of options to choose from, but you will have to unlock Phoenix Talons first before you access the rest of this web. In priority order of unlocks, after Phoenix Talon just being unlocked, we want to put Void Strike, Contamination Wave, and Power Transfer at 2 out of 3 as fast as possible in that order. Then, after that, we also want to get Sling Strength to 2 out of 3, because the Contamination Wave, Sling Strength, Void Strike, and Power Transfer are the most impactful abilities of the Matter-Eye Focus School. Sling Strength will eventually give you 40% more ability strength for 20 seconds after you dash into the ground. Contamination Wave makes an enemy 50% more vulnerable. Void Strike consumes all the energy from you, and the more energy you have, the higher the damage will be. And it will give you a big damage bonus not only to your operator amp, but also to whatever weapon you're using for 8 seconds. Power Transfer allows you to do 100% extra critical amp damage for 20 seconds. Very useful, and with a combination of Void Strike and Power Transfer just in that mix, along with Magus Melt, you can literally one-shot the Edilon shield and also the Synovia later on. And you can do that with nearly any amp. Predominantly, you can do it with the 123 amp, which will be the upgrade to the 111 that we've just crafted. Anyways, time to swap back over to the other account. Give me 1 second. 2 out of 3 maxed out for Void Strike, Power Transfer, Contamination Wave, and we have Phoenix Talons maxed out. This is just a nice little damage increase. I just had enough focus to be able to use it, so I did. Now, something to know about amps, that 95% of all the damage you do does not come from your amp. Your amp only provides about 5% of the damage. The rest of it is consistency and how it fires. Now, all that damage that you see people do in speedruns, solos, etc., all that comes from Matter-Eye, and eventually you'll be able to, on your equipment, put an arcane called Eternal Onslaught, which upon energy depletion, you get 180% crit chance. Now, this, in conjunction with others, pushes every single amp nearly over a threshold to easily one-shot not only the shield, but also allows the Raplac Prism to just literally, upon shield depletion, one-shot any Synovia if the armor is stripped with Magus Melt. Very powerful, very strong. And that's where 95% of all the power comes from, is your focus school and your amp. Every now and then on stream, I will literally show myself killing Steel Path Angel with the Mo amp, and it's fairly fast. Same thing with the Suriko that you get from the new war. Anyways, aside from that small tangent, we shall move on to Volt. Now, the question is, why is Volt good? Why is Volt the solo speedrunner of just Eidolons in general? Currently, Jade is kind of pushing in there with her too, but we're not sure if that's a bug or not. But the main reason is because of his electric shield. His electric shield, not only can you stack a few times to get extra electricity damage, but even though you can only benefit from it once, is that you get 50% extra critical damage. This applies through your amps whenever you fire through the Volt shield. This allows you, as a baby Tenno, to be able to increase your damage and be able to get the Eidolon shield down faster. Not only that, whenever we have our VELOCITUS built and we're actually able to use it, this radiation damage, because it is a combined element, also goes up and actually allows us to be able to one-shot the Eidolon limb. Albeit, make sure it is armor stripped first. Now, some common terminologies that we will go over for the amp specifically that I know I mentioned a few times, but I want to just kind of ground it. Whenever we talk about amps, like the 123, 177, X77, 777, all that means is that they are the different tiers of amps. Quelonco, tier 1, 2, 3, and 4, are just 1, 2, 3, 4, because those are the very first 4 tiers of amps introduced into the game. The 5, 6, 7 are actually the first, second, and third tier of amps that were offered because of Little Duck. So that is, and here is a quick another reference kind of showing off how they all work. The reason why we use the Aloran brace and the final brace for Little Duck is because they increase critical chance, and that actually allows you to actually push over, or like for example, the critical chance of the Raplak is 38%. It pushes up to 50%, so it allows you to push over a certain threshold, not only to easily one-shot shields, but later on you can also just do additional damage from the shield with just your amp, so you can actually just break weak points with your operator only if you wish. Now, that is normally used in conjunction with, as I said before, with Eternal Onslaught, which upon your energy being depleted, you get 180% crit chance, and that does stack. And of course, when you have Eternal Onslaught, which gives you 60% more, damage, it just becomes, like, you just become really, really strong. Anyways, with that, let me go ahead and take us to the plains, and I will see you there, and we'll get into the explanation on how to actually use your amps against Eidolons. We're going to show off the Volt Shield. Now, to kind of show off that I don't really have anything, in the top right, you just see Power Transfer. If I drain all of my energy, I do not have an Arcane on the 1, 2, 3 ABCs. This is just, we're exclusively going to be using the Raplak to show off the Volt Shield, and why it is so important that we actually do armor strip as well as fire through the shield. So, if I am, if I'm shooting this poor guy in the face, it's going to do almost 1400 damage. However, whenever it crits, it hits for 14,000. However, if we do that exact same thing through the shield, hits for 2,000 and crits for 43,000. So we're actually doing a whole lot more damage just by firing through this single shield. Literally, we are almost doing 3 times the damage just firing through the shield. Now, let's add in an armor strip. Went from 43,000 and normal, just like doing about 2,000 damage, to 20,000, and we're critting for 435,000 damage. But guess what? We can go even higher. Do the same thing with the Contamination Wave, 653,000. Now if we do that again, okay, we have time. Void Strike, boom! Almost 6 mil damage. I'm gonna wait for all my abilities to run out. 6 million damage up from a critting of 14,000. Yeah. That is why Materite is the go-to for killing anything in the game. At least with your operator. And that is also why we use Volt Shield. Alrighty. Now to actually talk about how we actually hunt it. We have our VELOCITUS, we have our Void Rig. We are ready to take on our very first Eidolon, which will be the Terror List. Now, whenever we go out the door, we want to immediately go right. The reason why is that this is actually a really good habit to get into, especially in learning more advanced techniques down the road. Now, Eidolons, whenever they spawn, they have this teal, like blue flame whenever they come up. They always spawn from a water source. So, what we're going to do is that we're going to go right. And the reason why we do this is because there's a little encampment over here. We want to get right above this tree. And we're going to gently inch forward a little bit at a time until we see 2 Vombulas appear. You can see that they don't like the camp. So, we're going to come in, drop our Void Rig, and we're going to kill everything except for the Vombulas. We're going to shoot the lure, and we're going to hack it. The reason why is that if we hack it, well, if we do not hack it, and we kill the Vombulas, they will not charge. So, this guy is currently out of range of that lure and dropped a little ball. If we pick up that ball, we can walk it directly into the lure, and it will charge it. So, we're going to kill this guy, grab the little ball, walk it to the lure. Now, we're going to go right above that same tree that we just did. I'm going to wait a second and move forward, and the Vombulas will either spawn there, down here, up here, or over here. Now, the reason why we killed everything at the camp is because... Oh, there it goes. The reason why we killed everything at the camp is that there's an enemy limit at, I believe it is duos and below. So if you're single or solo or duo, you will have this problem where if one of your friends starts flying around, they'll start spawning enemies, and it makes finding Vombulas very, very difficult. Now that we actually have one charged, we're going to go and immediately grab this one located at the end of the little lake. Oh, this is moving so slow. I'm just going to hack it. And we only have 44 energy. To solve this, we're just going to kill things with our lovely staff. And I believe... Oh, we accidentally walked into water, so we got a magnetic proc. Oh, well. Anyways, we're going to use our speed. We're going to go and find the Terror List. And I'm actually going to make a pit stop right here. Kill the Eximus. Believe I can harvest them. Here. Alright. Either way, we're good. So it's coming towards us. We now have energy. We're going to... Actually, we're going to run up to it, start smacking it with our scepter. Break its armor. Throw a shield down. Void Strike. Start shooting it in the face. Drop a Void Rig. Boom. Immediately break the leg. Now, we gotta be quick. Hop into our Amesha and press our 3. This will activate Warding Grace that protects us from having all of our energy siphoned away. Start shooting in the head again. Grab this. Shatter the next part. Reposition. I'm going to put one shield right there. Hop in our Amesha. Now we press Warding Grace. Slam down. pop into our operator, waiting for a second for the voice art to come offline. Drop the void rig, shoot the other kneecap. Now we're going to very gently use Warding Grace, but slowly start grabbing some Vombless. Now, we're on the very last limb. We shoot it in the face. Drop Void Rig. Break the arm. Now, it's actually going to start calling for its friends. So, as before, we're going to pick up the ball, and we're going to start feeding it to our lure. Now we'll look around for some more Vombless. If none spawn, okay? If none of them spawned, we can get right under its butt. Whenever we get right under its butt, it will eventually poop out a Vombless or two on its... whenever it eventually starts standing up. So we're going to walk over to its butt. And we're going to get ready with our operator to use the Pencha Scaffold and use our alt fire to charge that up. Go over to our Void Rig, get in it, shoot it in the head with 2 VELOCITUS shots, or if you have the Aquabex unlocked, just a 4th ability for your Void Rig, that is much better to use as a cap shot. And congratulations, you just completed your very first Edilon hunt. So, we're going to collect our goodies. And we see there's some Vombless around. We're going to go ahead and pick up some of the leftover Sentient cores. Because every bit of standing helps. I'm going to fly back and repeat. A little trick later on is whenever you have, whenever it's underground crying, if you have your, well, you should have your K-Drive launcher, you can leave it right here, and that will actually keep the door open for you, so you can just fly directly in. Or you can do it at the start of the mission, whatever time it is. Get your power transfer, get your void strike, get contamination wave, phoenix talons, all this maxed out. Get your inner gates and internal gaze waybound, and also get your sling strength maxed out. That's what you'll eventually. That's what you're gonna be working on. It is a long grind, but it's hell of a worth it. Second thing, your amp. You're gonna upgrade to the 1, 2, 3 ABCs. This will be later on. It'll turn into the 177 or the 777. But right now, we're just keeping it at that. If you unlocked Zeramin, you want to get Internal Onslaught as fast as possible. You can do Void Cascade and actually hunt for these arcanes. It's also really profitable for plat. When it comes over to the arsenal, there's not a lot of extras that you can technically do. Get the Vastalock or the Sarpa. Sarpa, you can just buy in the market, get the blueprint for it, craft it, and then just use it. Vastalock is whenever a Barrow Katir comes around, and you can trade ducats for it. This is a lot more advanced build, but you just only need Shattering Impact and just attack speed. That's all. This will legitimately just shred through an Eidolon's armor much quicker than the staff, and you can do it at range, but much safer. Bullet Dance makes it so much better to use. Now, we're going to go over to... Oh no, look at that. We do not have the Amesha. We have the Itzel. The Itzel is going to allow us to actually be able to use Cosmic Crush with our Cold Snap to be able to pull in our loot and everything like that. We're also, on our Volt, going to be running a full Arcane Nullifier from the Terra list. This is what we're going to be farming for. This is the arcane that we want to get at the very, very beginning of learning Eidolons. Because it stops the magnetic effect altogether, and we just then have to worry about just keeping our health up and the lures alive. We no longer have to worry about energy being siphoned away from us. VELOCITUS. Not much has changed for the baby Tenno, except for instead of Polar magazine and Shell Rush, we now have dual rounds of Containment Breach. Containment Breach is in the second area that unlocks in Deimos. I will still keep the name to myself, so then, and to avoid spoilers for those who are just completing the star chart. Definitely didn't forget the name just now. Whenever it comes down to the Void Rig, we only exclusively go to the Aquabex. Now, use the normal version of Ruby Line Barrel, the normal version of dual rounds. Instead of containment casing, you just pop on Containment Breach. Contamination casing is specifically for a profit taker thing that I do. This will just shred everything. It's 3 Forma, blast everything off again. But yeah, eventually your VELOCITUS will be 3 Forma. This is 6 Forma because this is a profit taker. Like, this is legitimately a profit taker VELOCITUS. But yeah, at max is only going to be 3 Forma. But yeah, other than that, that is predominantly it. And then after you get used to that and you start outgrowing it and you get the better amps and the arcanes, you'll eventually literally start doing hunts with like the dual Toxicist, the Vermin Slicer, the Zenith. If you don't have the Zenith, there's the Rubico Prime, the Vectis. Like there's like you will literally start using your Warframe to get the kills instead of your Necromech. But yeah, that is pretty much it. If you made it to the end of the video, I'd just like to say thank you so much for watching it through, or even just clicking through. Every view counts, and every single view inspires me to make more content. Eventually, I'm going to be making some content on how to kill Thumpers and so on and so forth. So if you like it, please like, share it to your friends, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitch. I really appreciate it. Until next time, I'll see you in the system. Over and out.